I know for me, when I finished college and I entered the work world, I had to get a job. I worked in journalism. I hated it. I hated working for other people. I hated office politics. I hated all the egos. I hated the smarminess. I hated the lack of quality. It was all just about, making money and getting things out there. And then I worked in Hollywood. I hated Hollywood. I hated working in Hollywood. That formed me very much, made me go in the direction that I went in, but only from the basis of I knew that I wanted to be a writer. So, that's very important that it's not just hate. It can form you, but there also has to be that positive, deep emotional love of something that also is grounded in you in some way.
Yeah, what you just said really highlights the fact that energy and motivation can come from either pressure, desire for something or desire to get away from something.
Right.
And earlier when you were talking about how we are so much more engaged and driven towards things that stir us emotionally, and actually we know based on the neuroscience, as you know too, I'm sure, that only by the release of certain neurochemicals in the brain and body would our brain have any reason to change, right? If you don't feel agitation and you can do everything that you're trying to do, of course your brain wouldn't change. Like, why would it, right? That agitation is a signature of the neurochemicals that are saying, hey, something's different now.
Right.
You might need to do something different, including rewire yourself, right? And that can come from positive or negative experiences.
Of course.
Now, I'm obsessed with this idea of energy. I mean, we all want to have more energy and focus. And normally we hear about the concept of energy in the context of caloric energy, like what should we eat and when and how much, and we need to get sleep. But what you're really referring to is neural energy, like the engagement of ourselves that's, sitting there ready to be engaged, but it requires the right experiential macronutrients, right? The experiential micronutrients, as opposed to, of course, we need good nutrition, but that's not sufficient. It's necessary, but not sufficient. So would you say that when we are, let's say, since a good number of our listeners are in adulthood, from our 20s on, that the things that excite us as adults that really generate some feeling of readiness or grab our attention are still informative toward guiding our decisions about best life and life purpose?
Well, what exactly do you mean by that? I mean, because there are things that excite you in a kind of a quick way, where you have to relieve some tension and there's entertainment and there's things that kind of give you pretty immediate gratification. And there's the larger picture of something that will give you fulfillment over years to come. So you can feel that when you're older and you can pay attention to it. But a lot of the time is we're paying too much attention to the immediate pleasures of life, to what gives us instant gratification, and that's what we're grabbing for. So this is a much more kind of deeper process that involves that digging that I was saying. It's deeper than just kind of, I like this, I don't like that, kind of thing. It's more something macro than just that. And so when you're in your 20s or in your 30s or your 40s, you want to be paying attention to yourself. And the problem with people in the world today is you're not paying attention to yourself. You're not inside your own head. You don't hear those voices. You don't hear what you love, what you like anymore, because as I said, there's so many of these other distractions going on. And so you're always attuned to what other people like, right? Because you're in social media. This is what people are following. This is what they're interested in.